Is he watching?
Yeah, he should be good.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the North Branford Planning and Zoning regular meeting for November 20th, 2025 at 6:35. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the members of the commission seated here tonight. To my left is Ron Sienna, a regular member, and to his left is Barry Ponder, a regular member of the meeting of the commission, to my far right is Janet Crane, a recording secretary, and at the administrative table is David Perkins, our town planner. Finally, my name is Robert Nowak. I'm the chairman for the commission seated here tonight. Next order of business is to consider the approval of previous minutes for July 10th, September 4th, and November 6th. I asked the members, before I continue with my little spiel, of July 10th, we have to continue that meeting because we don't have a quorum for July 10th or September 4th. So we're just looking at the three of us November 6th. So I asked you guys to take a minute to review the November 6th meetings if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any corrections or adjustments or modifications you'd like to make, and we'll entertain a motion when you are ready. And entered the room is Paul Marino, our alternate member of the commission. And since there's only four of us here today, Paul's going to be seated as a commission member, not an alternate.
Do we have an extra copy of the previous minutes?
November 6th.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make a motion, we approve the meetings from the November 6th meeting.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstained? Motion carries 3-1 for the approval of minutes for November 6, 2025. At least we got one done. That July one's gonna kill us. Definitely. Next order of business, public hearing and possible action for application 2025-9 West Pond Road, R80 zone. It's a continuation of our public hearing from last time. And so I see we have some new faces, so I just want to read a little synopsis on how we're going to conduct the meeting, and then we'll get right into it with the applicant explaining the project. So public hearing be opened, it's already open, so we want to hear from the applicant, then we're going to hear from staff and commission members. The public will then have another opportunity to speak. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to the public comment if there is anything new, offer closing comments. Staff and commission will have another chance to comment on it. Public hearing will be closed, no public further discussion will be entertained. After public hearing is closed, commission will vote on the application. Just some rules regarding public testimony. While addressing the commission, please speak into the microphone, state your name and address for the record. All comments should be addressed to the commission, not the applicant. Be relevant to the application, should not be of personal nature. Please limit your comments at 3 minutes. Please avoid repetitive comments. Once a public hearing is concluded, we'll move on with other business. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to the applicant to address some of the concerns we had from last meeting.
Good evening. My name is Annette Ellis. I'm a professional engineer with Giuliano Associates in Wallingford, and I'm here representing BC Investment Properties LLC. Just as a reminder, this application is for a 5-lot subdivision. It's on 30.9 acres in an R80 zone. The property has frontage on West Pond Road and at the end of Glenwood Road, and the access is proposed from Glenwood Road. At the last meeting, we had comments that we received from the town engineer, the police chief, and the deputy fire marshal, who took a second look as the commission requested. All these comments have been addressed, and the revised plans and a letter outlining the revisions was submitted on Tuesday. For the record, I just want to summarize the revisions. A plan and profile for the extension of the Glenwood Road cul-de-sac has been provided. Catch basins have been added to collect the runoff from the cul-de-sac extension. Additional standard details were provided as requested. Specific areas of blasting have not been identified. However, should blasting be required, it will be completed by a licensed contractor. A permit will be obtained from the fire marshal, and pre-blast inspections will be conducted of all properties in proximity of the activity. The driveways have been checked to ensure that the first 10 feet do not exceed 5%. The cul-de-sac has been checked to ensure a school bus can turn around without backing up. A note has been added indicating reflective address numbers shall be posted at the street and where the shared driveways branch off to the individual houses. Dimensions of the road width and the cul-de-sac radius have also been added. The width of the shared driveways has been increased to 18 feet, and we acknowledge canopies must be clear. At the last meeting, we had suggested maybe doing some little pull-off areas, but the fire marshal came back with a comment that he wanted the entire driveway width to be 18 feet. So that's been provided, so we don't need the little pull-off areas that we agreed to put on the plans. Turnaround areas have been added to both of the shared driveways where they branch off. I'll just point these areas out to you on the plans. Right here, and also right here. So the fire trucks will be able to access the driveways, to access the houses on the shared driveways. They will have to back up a bit of a ways, but they can turn around, pull out the majority of the way, and pull out back onto the public road. The detail of the culvert under the driveway to lots 1 and 2 indicates HS20 loading, which can support a total design vehicle weight of 72,000 pounds. The fire department was requesting 70,000 pounds, so this is adequate. A note has been added stating that emergency access must be maintained during construction. That takes care of all the comments, but other than addressing the comments, I understand the commission received a letter from the North Branford Land Conservation Trust indicating they would be happy to receive the open space. So that's certainly a good thing. I think this takes care of all the outstanding issues, so I don't really have anything more to present, but if you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to try to answer them. We're high tech tonight, I see.
Dave, would it be possible to pull up the drawing so the audience can see what she was talking about?
When the paper sent in the dust, it has 4, so they're saying 5.
Let's turn around.
That paper you have there is just showing that the school bus can turn around in the cul-de-sac without backing up.
There's one of them.
Which sheet number is that?
Which is the one that shows
Which sheet number is that one?
This is a colored version just for presentation purposes. I'd be happy
Right.
to email to David, but probably the overall plan would be the easiest to look at. I think it's sheet 3, maybe, David. That's the subdivision plan, maybe down one more. Are you looking for the turnaround areas?
Yes.
Yeah, probably the next sheet.
So they're right here, right?
Yes. Yep.
And here.
Yes.
Oh, no. No, here. Where the
Right, yeah,
driveways
right where they
intersect
branch,
on the-
right where they branch off.
So you meant that a larger area instead of just a V, it's more of the ability.
More of a
to-
triangular area, so there should be enough to back up and then pull out.
Exit, okay.
So the distance they would have to back up is much smaller, much shorter than if they had to back up the entire driveway line.
There's not enough room for separate driveways per lot?
We
If you
did that,
redesign it a little bit?
we did that in order to, for conservation purposes, so we didn't have to clear more land.
But is there enough room to run separate driveways for each lot? If need be?
We could do separate driveways for each lot. That's not what was approved through wetlands. The combined driveway to lot 1 and 2 has a, wetlands crossing. So those particular driveways were also combined as to disturb as little of the wetlands as possible, to provide just one culvert, less disturbance.
Do you have to go back to wetlands for the 18-foot wide driveways currently?
I don't believe we do, because I didn't expand the limits of the grading. So even though the driveways got wider, I was able to keep it within the same limits. Like the silt fence stayed the same, all the grading, the limits of it was kept the same. So there aren't there's no more additional square footage of wetlands disturbance.
Right, because it was a 25-foot right-of-way, so you just put the footprint of the driveway a little bit wider.
Correct.
So it fell within that.
Yep.
Commission members have any questions or comment for the applicant? Dave, you want to offer any comments, questions regarding the, What you
we got
provide?
this on Tuesday, so it hasn't really been reviewed completely.
okay?
Right. The fire, I shared it with the fire department, I didn't hear anything back, I shared it around, and I'm still sort of waiting for comments, but all in all, I haven't heard anything negative yet.
Okay,
I got the revisions back in as soon as I could, but I didn't receive the additional fire department comments till Monday, so.
Right, it all took a while.
Yeah.
so you got a Monday and you turned
And I
around.
got it on
Wow,
Tuesday.
That's pretty good.
We tried.
Not bad. That's pretty good. Okay. So thank you very much, I appreciate it. So what I'll do is I'll turn it over to the public for
Okay,
comment.
Thank you.
Before we do that, one
Yes,
quick
sir.
question. We have a letter from the land trust that they will accept the open spaces? Or is it word of mouth?
No, I do have a letter from the land trust, yes. I did not bring it, but,
Okay.
David, I have a copy if you
okay.
Do you want it?
Would you like to see it?
Sure.
then, or
No,
read-
no, it's fine, it's like,
You want to read the record since she has a copy of it? That'd be great.
Those addressed to the commission.
11/16/25, North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission concerning West Pond Road, Planning and Zoning Application 2025-9. Dear Commissioners, the North Branford Land Conservation Trust, Inc. would be happy to be the receiver of the 3.09 acre open space portion of the West Pond Road subdivision as is depicted on the plans submitted. We appreciate the thoughtfulness of the developer to make a connection between West Pond Road and existing land trust property. We do have one request. Besides all necessary survey markings, a permanent marker that is anchored and visible at a height of at least 3 feet, such as a pole, be installed next to the survey pin rod that marks the turn into the property where the buildable portion of Lot 1 begins. In past instances, this has been a 4-inch or 6-inch galvanized steel pipe set in concrete, painted green and capped. In our experience, at key points where boundary directions change, either the abutter just ignores the survey pin or removes it. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, David Sargent, President, North Branford Land Conservation Trust, Inc.
Okay, Ron?
Yes.
All right, very good, thank you. Anything else before I have the public speak? Anybody interested? Okay. Hearing none, then I'll ask anyone who wants to speak in favor of or just have a conversation about the plan and the proposed changes. Would anyone like to speak to them?
Rose Angeloni, 67 Glenwood Road. So I noticed on the plans that were sent that where it says drainage easement for the town, it says Town of Branford. And I don't know if that makes a difference on your plan, but it should probably be the Town of North Branford.
Correct.
Because we don't want to have that come into the, because there are issues on other town streets where things get mislabeled. So that you just have to make sure on every plan where it says Town of Branford, that it's Town of North Branford on there. I'm very pleased to see that the recommendations from the police and fire have been taken into consideration in regards to this plan. So it's nice that they also consult or are donate, one of the options is to the land trust, because that will help with the land trust property, that the trails are there, and hopefully that they can put another trail in and connect the two on there.
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of, opposition to, either way? Would anyone like to speak to it? Hearing none, then I'll ask the commission members or town if we have any other questions or concerns. So Dave, you had mentioned that there's not a reply to the plan. Are you inferring that maybe we should wait for them to make a comment and carry this one more time ahead, or make it a condition of the approval if we get to that point, while we're still in the public hearing mood? Do we want to continue the public hearing in light of the changes, which seem to be satisfactory to the comments to date
Right.
for us? Do we want to continue the public hearing for the purpose of having them bless it? Or just close it and make it a condition that they apply to, unless the fire department comes back with something different? What's your thought?
I mean, you're going to have to get an extension from the applicant to keep the
Correct.
public hearing open. That would be the only downside to it.
Okay,
We are meeting again December 11th, which is not that far away.
okay, okay. Do we need to have the public hearing continued for that?
In order to get more opinion, yes.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, I was just gonna, you're talking about, well, our preference as the applicant would be that the commission close the hearing and vote to approve the application, subject to any review by the town fire marshal and the fire department. We think we've addressed the issues, and certainly if there are further issues, I think it can be addressed by virtue of a condition of approval. Though my client likes coming here before you, there is an expense to have the engineer and me here tonight, so to the extent the commission could vote on the application and prove it subject to the condition that the fire marshal confirm that the changes we made satisfy him, we would ask the commission to do that.
Okay. All right. What you guys thought?
Personally, my feeling is that we should leave it open, giving us the option of, I think what the attorney is saying, I could be wrong, is we're approving it. And then we're gonna see if there's, a report that's detrimental to this. I don't see how this is fine, except I'd like to see the option open for us as opposed to boxing us in.
So I'll play devil's advocate, right? So we've had 2 comments from the fire department, because it's still public hearing right now. We had 2 rounds with the fire department, right? Each time they came back with comments, and the applicant has addressed the comments to date, right? Oh, unless we find them unsatisfactory in their addressing of his comments.
There's nothing else outstanding from the fire department that they wanted looked at, right?
That's correct.
Not that I'm aware
So they
of.
brought all that up, right?
That's correct.
And the police department, they're, hold back and say, is the shared driveways, which causes some confusion, but now they made them
Wider,
wide, almost as wide as the street.
So
correct.
one of the conditions that would be put into the proposal would be that there would be shared driveway agreements executed.
How hard is it to switch it to a proposal of separate driveways?
It's not a great idea. Just because now you're gonna have more pavement, and this is better for, as the engineer said, it's better for the environment, it's a better.
Did the police look at it, the revised?
Once you have an agreement, and the problem is that we have a lot of shared driveways with no agreements. So who's gonna plow it?
Right.
So we make an agreement that they have to put it in to share the expense.
That's reasonable, I thought,
Yeah.
to have an agreement with the property owner, no? And it's wider than normal driveways.
Right.
It's 18 feet wide now,
Yeah, but-
12.
Yeah, what if you're my neighbor and I don't like you and I plow my snow on your side and then you come by and plow your snow on my side? Now we're
Well,
back
then
and
you have an
forth.
agreement and you go to court.
Just
Right.
separate driveway, you don't have that problem. But you're saying that you can't do it because of wetlands or because it's too much asphalt?
Well, it would not be as great an application if it had 2 driveways. That's why we have the regulation that allows 2 lots to share a driveway.
It would be different if we didn't have that, but we have that in our regs.
Correct.
Okay. So the applicant met that requirement.
Right. How long is the shared section of the driveway? You got a rough idea feet-wise?
500 feet?
It's right there, Paul, so.
500 feet of a shared driveway?
18 feet wide though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, shared driveways are a pretty simple, straightforward thing that people do. Right, Attorney Lee?
Yeah, they're not uncommon to have a driveway, especially on larger parcels like this where there's 30 acres and we're only developing 5 acres. It's not, or 5 lots, it's not uncommon to have a shared driveway.
And a shared driveway agreement between the
Oh, yeah,
owners.
well, yeah. As the commission has kind of figured out, it does make sense. Shared driveways can lead to issues, and the best way to resolve those issues is to resolve them before those issues get created. So the recommendation was that the shared driveway easements be put in writing before the developer sells the lots to the individual unit owners. So whoever buys these lots are going to buy the lots subject to the agreement to maintain the driveway. So when people buy the property, they'll know what their obligations are vis-à-vis the shared driveway.
So they know right up front when they buy the property. That makes sense.
Correct.
You know what
Well,
you're
it
getting
follows the
into.
deed, I would say, right?
Yeah, they'll be correct. When they get the deed, the map will show the shared responsibilities, and the deed will show the shared responsibilities. The developer will do those deeds prior to conveying the lots out to the 5 homeowners. So when they acquire the property, they will know what their obligations are with regard to the shared driveway.
We also, as part of the motion, would be adherence to the requirements of the fire marshal and/or fire chief and their memorandum dated November 13th, 2025. So if this isn't sufficient to meet their requirements of the letter, which we believe it is, then that would be the time to meet with the developer and change it.
Right, I agree with that. Okay. So commission members, do we have an issue if we were to move forward with this proposal as is without waiting for another round with the fire department? So that's really the
I would
question.
say close it out because they came back, any questions that anybody had, they addressed. So you could leave with maybe a stipulation or two, and you had it still open, but there's no reason to keep delaying it.
Right. Yeah, because we could keep going.
We'll send them into 27 if they want to.
Yeah, I think we'll draw the line. Okay. So with that being said, is there any other public comment from any party for or against this proposal as stated so far?
Rose Angeloni, 67 Gladwin. So I just have a question in regards to blasting, if they have to do blasting. So it doesn't matter if the house, if someone is beyond what the normal limit is for blasting as far as protocol, blasting protocol, are they still going to go through the blasting protocol with the person? Because it most likely is us at 67 Glenwood Road. And I know at the last public hearing, it was mentioned that it's over the 100 feet. So I don't know, is the 100-foot the blasting protocol? If you're within 100 feet that you go through the blasting protocol? I don't know what blasting protocol is. So I just want to make sure that if we're outside of the boundaries of blasting, that we still get the blasting protocol and they inspect and do all of that stuff. Because our septic and well is on the side of the house where this activity is going to take place.
Didn't we put a stipulation on one project that they had to, like, inspect it before? And this way, if there was anything, at least it's documented, the house was good. Then if something, God forbid, something happens, at least you got a record, so then that would be fault of the developer. And is there any blasting? Are they planning on blasting? Is there
So
definitely planning on
They don't
blasting?
know yet,
They don't
is
know
what
yet.
they said.
Uh-huh.
But
So Paul, you're correct, there was a protocol. We didn't get into the nitty-gritty because he didn't think it was going to be, and the houses were a lot closer
Right.
than Rose's house to the proximity to that, so.
I mean, that wouldn't be too much of a burden to actually put that in there.
Well, let's ask the applicant if he knows the protocol distance.
Generally speaking, blasting is not something that's subject to the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Correct.
Blasting is subject to the fire marshal. So in order to obtain a permit to blast, you have to make a licensed blasting contractor needs to make application to the fire marshal. Fire marshal will then issue a blasting permit if the fire marshal deems it appropriate. the blasting company generally does what's called a pre-blast survey, where they'll go and inspect properties in the general vicinity to make sure that there is no damage caused to those properties as a result of the blasting. So they'll kind of do a before shot, then they do the blasting, and then if the homeowner has an issue, they would kind of compare the before picture with the after picture to see if the blasting did in fact cause any damage. I don't know the answer to your specific question as to what the radius is that the blasting company does the pre-blast surveys. That really would be up to the fire marshal to make that determination. I tried to look up the statute real quick so I could give you an answer, but I can't get enough Wi-Fi service in here to do it. But
Gotcha.
generally speaking, well, I know for a fact that the fire marshal is the agency in town that regulates blasting permits.
Right. So is there something you can put in the conditions that they, you know, like, can you supersede the fire marshal? Basically is my question. And say they have to do it.
I guess my suggestion would be that the commission could pose a condition that if blasting is required, we are required to comply with whatever the conditions are from the fire marshal. At least that way we'll flag it for the fire marshal. Planning and zoning expressed an interest in it.
True, but that's only, it's predicated on distance.
I think the fire marshal is predicated on distance.
That's correct, right. In my past life, that was a condition of distance, right? So the concern is that the distance may be too short and not include the homes around the cul-de-sac that may be affected, and there's a concern, and you're right, it's not a P&Z preview, but it is a concern of the citizens of North Branford, so we're trying to address that at the same time.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm not trying to diminish the concerns, because if my house was near a site that was kind of blasting, I can certainly appreciate the concern. I guess I'm just saying those concerns are better addressed by the fire marshal, and the mayor can address your concern to the fire marshal as opposed to addressing it to planning and zoning, because quite frankly, I don't know the distance, I don't think you know the distance, and I'm not sure Ms. Angeloni knows the distance, so those kind of questions may be better left to the fire marshal when and if a blasting permit is pulled.
Right.
My quick Google search here says 500 feet.
500 feet?
Yep.
Okay, so then we're probably.
So that would be, lot one would definitely fall within your 500. And maybe even 65 Glenwood Road would probably fall into
Right.
it.
I mean, those are the two closest houses.
I can tell you this, Rose, I live about a mile from Tilcon, where the face is currently blasting, and they use a lot of dynamite, and my windows shake.
Great.
I'm really far away from it, so I don't think they're gonna use that kind of charge over there, but you're still gonna feel it, but.
Okay. All right, so 500 feet. All right,
Well,
that's part of
My
protocol.
concern with that is,
Yes, sir.
you know, roses between a rock and a hard place. Forgive the pun. You know, the crack in your foundation is caused by trap rock, not our blasting.
Right.
So prove who caused the, because that ridge is basalt, and it travels through it, and it's not a question of a break like normal blasting. It's, and I realize I'm going off on a tangent with this, but,
That's
you
what we
know,
do best.
worst case scenario, you know, document everything, pictures every 10 feet, and hope you don't have to use them.
And we're not even sure if they have to blast, right?
That's correct.
Well, considering when we built our house
Yeah.
and when 65 built their house 4 years ago, and we have less ledge where we are than inside there, and we both had to blast. So
I would
it's
assume
a
that-
very,
yeah.
very high possibility that they're going to have to blast in there. I know they're gonna try pounding first and trying to dig it out,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more ledge in there than where 65 and 67 built. My guess
Wasn't
is,
this project a tree partial shot years ago?
Oh, that,
No.
don't know. I don't know if it's relevant at this point in time. Right, there was originally proposed for 6 and they got approved for 5. That's all I know.
I was just curious on the 3, if it was a stipulation to only let them do 3 back in the day, and now we're at 5, if there was a reason.
New owner, new share, new game in town, so whatever was the past is the past. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Rose. Sure, would you like to speak?
Annette Scatino, 63 Glenwood Road. So I'm 2 down from Frank and Rose. And I am concerned about the blasting also, because they did blast for 65, but they came to us that morning and said, we're gonna blast today. And I said, well, nobody came and inspected my house. You know, what's going on? I thought we were gonna have notice, and nobody gave us notice. And it was like, I had to have them come traipsing through my house that day, 2 hours before they were blasting. And then the blasting took, I guess, a week or so or whatever. So I was really concerned with that. So I just want to make sure that, you know, maybe I am out of the blasting range according to 500, you know, but still, like you said, you're not that close to you're close to Tilcon, but not that close, but you still feel it.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to make sure that we get, you know, better notification this time. And is there any way that the fire marshal can go out there, and is there any way to pre-check before this is all approved tonight? And then, you know, is there an approval process that the fire marshal could go? I mean, do they do any testing or do any site review to see how much ledge they think is there? That, you know, or is it just because it's so deep underground, you just can't tell? I mean, I'm sure you can tell by the ledge that's there.
I'm not sure the fire marshal could do that. I mean, the blasters are experts and engineers and know how they're going to attack the rock, and it's not in their best interest not to do their due diligence to have their insurance rates skyrocket that are high enough already.
Anita, he won't find out until he gets on the job site. And once he starts excavating, he can't hammer it, then he's gonna drill and blast, and the drilling depth depends on the rock integrity and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
how much charge he puts in depends on the rock
right.
and the volume of it. So you
So that's
won't
my
know until.
concern, you know, because maybe I'm out of that a little bit, but I'm still right there, you know, and I'm just concerned about that too. And also with the driveways, the 18-foot. If you're having a party at your house and you have people parked on the driveway, how are the other people going to get around? Is it going to be wide enough for 2 cars? Is an 18-foot wide enough? I don't know. Mirrors, what if it's a truck and not somebody's trying to get around? Is that wide enough?
Usually 7-8 feet is a car.
Okay.
You got 2 cars.
You know, because you don't want to damage the wetlands, but you might have to drive on the sides of the driveways. So, I mean,
Yeah.
rather be proactive than now you got to react because there's a problem or a situation, or if there's a fire truck going down there, and can an ambulance go down there too, and God forbid. You know, just curious,
Yeah.
because we do live right there, you know, so.
We went from 12 feet to 18 feet, which seems more reasonable. Instead of pull-offs, he's making it the whole length of the driveway.
Which is
So-
500, which is how many feet?
800
But
change.
yeah, 800, 500 is going to be shared, and then,
That's a long,
yeah, maybe 4 and 5,
was that why
maybe
there
only
was,
400.
there was 3 lots approved, or 3 houses approved, and now there's 5 because they decided they're gonna double the drive, they're gonna use double, you know, shared driveways? Is that why they came up with 2, I mean, you know?
I don't have
know.
an answer for that, other than
Yeah.
they started out with 6, they ended up with 5. And the 4 houses both originally had shared driveways, just based on the plans that we have in front of us.
Yeah,
I just want to add to that, that there are many roads in North Branford that are basically 18 feet wide.
Or less.
So it's, or less.
Or less. Yeah, there's
these are
a couple of
driveways.
towns, yeah.
These
Couple
are
of
driveways,
couple
not
snoop through.
roads.
Yeah,
And so driveway's wider than some of our streets. and-
main roads, yeah.
Okay,
So that's a good thing.
okay.
Okay.
Just
Anything else?
concerned about the blasting and all that stuff too. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, Dave.
I have one more question that I don't think we've raised before. The cul-de-sac itself is going to be deeded to the town?
Yes, there's a street line shown around the cul-de-sac. It's about 10 feet. I think it's exactly 10 feet actually off the pavement, but it'll be the street line, so it'll be town road. Mhm.
So we need to get that in the motion somewhere. So maybe what we can do is we can close the public hearing, and then I can work on the motion and we can bring it back at the next meeting and deliberate and vote on it.
Okay. Were you going to add in the comment relative to shared driveway agreements?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'd add special conditions to deed the open space to the North Branford
Oh, here it
Land
is.
Trust, shared driveway agreements. We really should have street numbers assigned so we can get those on the plan, what they actually are. And we need to get some language relative to the deeding the land to the town.
Anyone else have any other comments? Anyone else? Anyone else? Would the applicant like to say anything else? Closing comments before I close the public hearing?
No, just that. Thank you for your consideration of the application.
Okay, thanks. So at this point in time, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Ron, second by Barry, to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Public hearing is closed, 4-0. Okay. With that being said, we're going to, how should we say, continue this item to the next agenda, to the next meeting? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, well, we'll put it on it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting to deliberate.
Okay, hash out all the little particulars, okay? Fair enough. Okay. Thank you, guys. So with that being said, we're moving on, to old business. There's no old business, we have new business, item number 6. Item 7 is other business for Schedule A discussion. Do we have anything new on that date for Schedule
I
A?
had one new item on that. Anybody need any of this?
Oh, wait, you opened something new on that?
Yeah,
No.
This is October 15th, right, Dave?
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's the latest and greatest, everything else throw away.
So the only thing that jumped out at me today was C 13.1 under the C section.
Stores. Retail uses, C1.
Industrial uses.
Not permitted.
C 13.1. We have C 13, which is warehousing and wholesale business shall not be located less than 500 feet from a residential district. And then we have 13.1, warehousing and wholesale business and commercial storage shall not occupy more than 2,500 square feet of area.
Okay.
That really was supposed to be accessory to a retail use. Because basically it's the same thing. So we're just saying a storefront or whatever could have up to 2,500 square feet as accessory. That was the original intent of that section. Or does it mean that you can just have a small warehouse? In the B1 zone? I guess that's what it means.
Yeah, in the B1 zone, they're not supposed to have a large warehouse.
You can't have a large one, but you could have a up to 2,500 foot warehouse.
Right.
It's pretty small.
$25 by 100.
Yeah, it's pretty big actually, isn't it?
Right? 25 by 100. It's deep.
50 by
Yep.
50.
How does that tie into?
So I think I'm fine with that.
It was C1 you were commenting, right, Dave? Oh, I see. C1 and C1.1 is very similar to 13 and 13.1, right? Kind of. No greater than 7,500 square feet, but it's in all those same zones, business districts, B1, 2, and 3. So,
Right.
What's the difference?
So we just got rid of that 7,500 square feet.
Yep, right, exactly.
But I mean, even if you're a retail store, you're gonna have some sort of warehousing back room where you keep your stuff. I mean, that's just part of the business.
Correct, right. It's ancillary to the business, is it not?
Yeah. I don't think that needs to be stated. It's pretty clear that.
It's a pretty big warehouse though, Dave, 50 by 50. It's a big chunk of storage, you know? But not really. You're right about that. We put all the larger ones in industrial.
Right. So I did get an inquiry about the Smith Land property. And somebody wanted to put like a warehousing operation in there in the B1 zone. So that would not be allowed unless it's 2,500 square feet.
I'm sorry, where's the Smith property?
Smith Land,
I'm sorry.
what do they
How
used to?
many square feet is that?
It's like 5,000, I think.
I mean,
What they used to be called, the,
if you go up to 12.1, we're allowing printing establishment and binderies to occupy 5,000 square feet in a B1 and a B2. But then when we go down to 13.1, if you're a wholesale business, you can't occupy but 2,500 square feet. You know what I mean? Like, are we talking about square footage? I mean, if the property allows it, either way, they would have to bring us a design, right? To show what they're doing. I don't know. I mean, it's good to open up for discussion.
Is one more intrusive than the other? Does one
Yeah.
require more space than the other?
not really, you can have a printing establishment running
You still
24.
need trucks to come in.
24/7 with paper deliveries and paper
Yeah.
going out.
Yeah. Say if I wanted to, yeah, open up a print shop to deliver newspapers, my operation would be from like midnight to 2 a.m. to 2:30, and then my trucks would be coming to pick up the newspapers to deliver out. So there's gonna be traffic in the middle of the night. Where a warehouse, maybe not, maybe like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or when people are waking up.
I mean, they're two different,
Two totally different, yeah.
in location-wise.
Right.
Industrial is an industrial zone, right? I-1, I-2.
Yeah.
Business could be anywhere along Route 80,
Yeah.
B1, B2.
That Smithland property is in the back, it's down 80. It's, what was it before?
Agway.
Yeah, Agway.
Oh, Agway.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
Smith.
that's not bothering anybody.
Light bulb.
Right.
Yeah.
Agway.
That might be more than 5,000 square feet. Maybe not, I don't know. No. Yeah, probably
So those numbers should probably be the same, is what
not.
you're
Is that what
saying.
we're alluding to,
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah, I think so.
You can put that 5,000 square feet in any B1 area,
Yeah.
As long as it fits.
as long as it
Yeah.
fits, right? So you got 2,500 in B1, you got 5,000 in B1 for,
Yeah. We removed it from C1, right? That C1.1, we removed the 7,500 square feet.
we took away the requirement.
Yeah, we took
right?
that away and
So,
didn't put a
okay.
percent, right, didn't even put feet on there.
I'm just thinking what other places, and it looks like they're the only two that
That's the only two.
define square footage to a B1.
Makes sense to be consistent.
Smaller.
Smaller or make them match,
Right.
make them both 2,500 or make them 5,000. But a 2,500 printing establishment is gonna be very small.
Right.
It's gonna be hard to open up a printing establishment. Or a warehousing establishment with 2,500.
So let me ask you a question. Do we need to put the square footage on there? what's the importance of that, if we just leave it blank? And it is a condition that doesn't need a special permit. Right, it's by right, so he can build in any B1, a printing shop or warehouse, regardless of if we took away the dimensions.
So if you got rid of the sub 1 and just changed to B1, allowing it by special permit,
Does it fit the location and the size?
Yeah, I think that's better.
What do you
It may
think?
be B1 and B2 then.
just B1.
Just B1?
Yeah.
And then it would open up the possibility for a different business because of the restriction lifted of the size of what he's proposed to do. He still has to come in front of us.
Yeah.
I want to do this, and this is how big my place is going to be in Agway or Northford Center in Business District or where Duties is.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying is gonna happen?
Oh, I don't,
No, I'm kidding.
inside baseball, I don't know nothing. So you're suggesting that we make 12.1 B1, B2 be a U for special permit and eliminate the square footage allowed. So printing established in binaries are permitted in 12.1. So how different is it than 12, C12, if we were to remove the size of the restriction?
Yeah, then we get rid of that whole line.
So 12.1 will go away,
Yeah.
And
And
we'll-
13.1 will go away.
13.1 too?
Yeah.
Okay,
13.1 also. And then in 12 and 13, we make the B1 a U,
okay.
so you can do any size you want as long as you get a special permit.
So you want to put 12, C12 being a B1 and B2?
I would just do B1.
Just B1?
Yeah.
Okay. And similarly, in 13, we'll just make B1 a U. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Okay. So then we just eliminate 13.1 and 12.1.
yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's good. All right.
Right, does that make sense?
Yeah, I went scratched it. And 12.1's gone.
12.1, 13.1. We're promoting economic development here.
Yeah, no, we really are.
In all the regulations that we have under Schedule A, they're the only two that had the dimension that was left. A restriction on the size. All right.
Can you have retail sales out of the warehouse?
I'm sorry?
Can you have retail sales out of a warehouse?
Retail sales as a right?
I'm thinking specifically of a place I used to visit in Wallingford. They sold books every Sunday. It was a warehouse, they would supply, but the overstock, you know, they had stacks of books on skids and you,
So under the, on the commercial, on the retail uses, C 1.2, stores and other buildings where goods are sold or services rendered at retail when accessory and subordinate to another permitted use on the same lot. So that would be like Knight Bridge in Branford, where
Yeah.
they have that little retail store and they do a whole lot of manufacturing in the back. That's what we're thinking of, right?
yeah. Or the once-a-year warehouse Black Friday, you know, let's get rid of the junk sale. And even at that once a year isn't that bad.
Well, this is a storage unit, so
Yeah.
like the show Storage Wars, they must sell the storage units, so.
Yeah, but people didn't pay for it.
Ancillary use, subordinate. Okay. So, anything else, Dave, on Schedule A?
Yeah, that's all I have.
So, the game plan for this Schedule A is to allow the public to look it over the next few months. So we put in, we're gonna put a little blurb in the North Branford News letter, whatever it is, newsletter. So I'm hoping, Dave, that we do that for the next 3 months,
Yeah.
November, December, January,
Yeah.
February.
It'll be in every edition, or it'll keep it constantly run?
It'll run every month. It'd be like a blurb at the
All of
end.
December, all of January, all of February.
So, with the hope that our public hearing is the second meeting of March for Schedule A. So, that's kind of the game plan I'm thinking, to let it just run. And then also it'll be a continuing item on the agenda for anyone who wants to speak to the Schedule A. Because the blurb that we put in there was, well, I don't know if I think that was taken out. Or we said, you can come and speak at the meeting or submit written comments to us. So I'm hoping with that it generates a little buzz. So with that being said, I think I'd like to put something in the Tucker Times as well. Come the January edition, the home delivery edition, saying, North Branford P&Z is seeking comment from the public regarding Schedule A and form-based zoning.
Maybe give a brief explanation what Schedule A is for people.
Yeah.
Hopefully the people we're seeking comment from knows what it is, but.
It's a public
But
service,
we just want the whole town to be aware.
public
Maybe
service
give them-
announcement,
Yeah.
basically.
So that, what we put in the town manager's newsletter is rather short,
Okay.
because he didn't want to like fill up the whole thing,
Yeah.
but it has a whole bunch of links to the code and the table of uses and my little webpage with all the stuff about form-based
That'd be
code.
perfect. Yeah, put a little hyperlink,
Yeah.
anything you can't click on. They can type it in or Google it.
You have the little app-
It doesn't work.
Do you have it written up already, or you have to write it?
Yeah, it's all written up. It should be going out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
We need to get a copy, we'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Are you on the email feed from the town manager? Well, you should go to his page and sign up for it.
They'll come right in your, every time. Same thing with the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
You can sign up those and they'll come right to your feed once they're all typed up. For any meeting, you can sign up and have it drop right in your, the link into your email. So,
Pretty neat.
Click.
Just another email.
yeah, okay, without further ado, let's move on to Town Center form-based presentation and discussion. So what I've asked Dave to do was invite a guest who I believe is I'll call an expert more than anything else, relative to Northford. Performed a study for us, so if you mind coming up and introduce yourself to us?
I'm Steve Nugent, 1386 Middletown Avenue. What?
Thank you, Steve. So,
Yeah, thank you for that compliment, but it was really just a lot of research put together
well,
with some compassion. but-
you did your homework significantly, and it really shows in the document. I don't know if all my commission members have seen the document that you produced, but it's well-written and very thorough. So I gotta say you did a great job. I take umbrage to what you've proposed, and I really like your ideas. They make a lot of sense, very reasonable. and you take into account what we've been struggling with here on the commission is, what do we want Northford and North Branford districts to look like? And you kind of helped me kind of gauge that idea. And then this form-based zoning really puts the pictorial pictures to some of the things that we've been talking about. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to you to kind of walk through some stuff. Unless, Dave, you have some comment or lead into the conversation?
Steve and I sat down last week and we sort of went through it together for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Sort of picked it apart in terms of a few details
Okay.
that we may want to just discuss now, or you can talk.
Yeah, I was not ready to speak in all terms about either village, but I think I'm just happy to hear that, you value the villages as they are and what they could be. There's a certain existing structures there that contribute, and if you complement it through the form-based code that Dave has worked on, could really make it a good mixed-use viable centers. And it's not lost that the more people that are in there, the safer it becomes. Not that it's dangerous, and the more it helps the businesses if there's additional residents nearby.
Steve, what's your background?
I construction manager first. I actually built that Agway on Route 80. And then I have a master's in real estate development from Columbia, and then I've always worked as a consultant, as an owner's representative.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So you want to walk through some of the things that you had?
I think one of the,
Paul, do you have one of these?
I didn't get my packet.
these are from.
Ridiculous, we don't get our packet.
Well, there wasn't one for this meeting. It was,
No, you didn't get this big one? Oh, like a week before. It might have been, I have mine, but I'm thinking, yeah. keep it.
Well, this might be,
A newer one from, let me look at the date. No, this is good.
August 15th?
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I think one of the conversations that we had was on I believe it's page 8,
Yeah.
34A 6.3. And it says, the primary massing of a building must be of rectangular form with a single type of pitched roof. And in our definitions, we talk about mansard roofs, we talk about, pitched roofs, we talk about all sorts of different roofs, and then we say single type of pitched roof. And then all our diagrams show gable-type buildings with dormers added and balconies added and all this stuff, but they don't ever show a different kind of roof. So I'm not quite sure why we're locking ourselves into a single type of pitched roof.
Yeah, historically, some buildings had 2 or 3 different style roofs. Not that, everything's gonna be historic, but that's the architectural influence that the code is trying to do. Right? And then the ridge lines too, they shouldn't just all be one barn. It would give diversity and likely not limit the square footage.
Right. So we don't want single type roof lines.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
So I just sort of highlighted that in mind for conversation. And on the next page, it talks about story height. CA-2, the height of a half story is measured vertically from the surface of the finished floor to the highest point of the ceiling above. So if you have a cathedral ceiling that's 16 feet above, as and you could only have 10, you're gonna put a ceiling on it to conform to the code, as opposed to allowing the cathedral ceiling to be up there. Because maybe that space up in the roofed area was to be used for mechanicals. But if you don't have any mechanicals, why not have them use that space?
And this would be on the half-story above the 2 stories that are already, that are in the code,
Right.
up in the ridge, in the attic.
So it would already be limited, so the height of that ceiling would already be limited based on the vertical height of the building,
Correct.
right? So wouldn't that be the limiting factor for that type of ceiling height,
That's what I would think.
right?
Well, the half-story height could be as much as 16 feet.
Commercial.
Yeah, and I think you were measuring the height of the building to the eave, right?
So it'd only be 12 feet if it's a residential
Roof
in that
pitch could
half-story.
vary, you know.
Right, 12 feet.
But maybe it could be 16. And you still wouldn't change the overall height of the building itself.
What was your suggestion for the height for the half-story on that A2, CA2? You want to change the definition of how it's measured vertically?
Or maybe we let them have it, the half-story height be 16 feet in the residential zone, just like it is in the commercial zone.
So while we're talking about height, what was your conversation about stories and heights? Since we're talking about story height, the next one is number of stories. Was there any, I like Steve's proposal that 2.5 stories is really for residential, not so much for commercial and residential versus a 3-story. If I remember correctly from what he indicated, was 3 stories with a no higher than was the limit. So you could break those 3 stories into whatever height you wanted, as long as it didn't exceed the height. And you could fit 2 residential floors above the commercial. And I like the idea that the commercial floor can't be limited by the height, because we had 3 stories and the mixed use at 35 feet really didn't allow for enough commercial development on the first floor because it was so limited in height.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah. A foot goes away for floor framing, ceiling framing, and then, you know, what do you have below 10? Not much for a commercial.
How did you guys like the height
So we,
measurement before the half-story? Because I was confused by the fact that our measurements in our regs are completely out the window when we look at this, because this is measured from the finished floor to the finished floor of the second floor or third floor, depending on how you look at it. So this is the first floor, then you measure from this to the finished floor of the second floor is your height. Right? Am I picturing that right? Or describing that correctly?
well, we were doing, the first floor would be 14 feet high,
Yeah,
okay? And the second story.
page 11.
Yes.
Right, so 14 feet.
14 feet, and then the second story would be 12 feet, right?
Max.
Max. And then the half-story height would be 12 for residential. And that gets you up to 38.
We had discussed about mixed use maybe being 36, and I think that was the,
We were talking about increasing the overall on page 12 for the mixed use from 36 to 42.
Correct. Because I know Steve had suggested 40 for mixed use And we have 45 feet height on Evergreen Woods. And I believe it's 45 feet or 42 for multifamily housing district at Firelight.
Okay.
But I like the 42 feet, that seems reasonable to me. So if you use the maximum 2.5 stories that's shown here, it's 38 feet.
Right.
Total height, maximum height,
Yeah.
38 feet. Doesn't mean he needs to build 12, its min is 10. That leaves floor to ceiling height of 9 feet, basically. So we'd have 9-foot ceilings in the second floor apartments. Is that about right?
Yeah,
From
depending
looking-
on the span and the size of the lumber, but yeah.
Right, just basically, right?
And
So,
soundproof, yeah, there's a lot of little details that'll eat up the elevation.
right.
The old Norford store,
Old
if you go to the original, it was 3-story. And I don't know how high that was because that was the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor had a stage and a dance hall.
God bless you.
I tried figuring out how they got the piano up the 3rd story.
Was it a flat roof or
No.
pitched roof?
Yeah, the gable roof,
Gable roof, God bless you.
right?
They would have raised it, right?
Right, but again, old Northford store was pre-zoning.
Right. But I mean, we had that for a long time and without problems.
So what do you suggest, Ron? Higher? You like the
No,
42
no,
feet?
I'm saying that, the old Norford store as a base
Yeah?
was acceptable. I mean, it, been there for 100 years.
So your point is, why are we making it shorter when historically it was 3 stories at least to
Correct.
begin with?
You
The
can
way,
you can do shorter, but those of us old enough remember the old Norford store, and it was 3 stories. And I don't know how legal the Grange dance hall on the 3rd floor was, but,
it wasn't a short roof, short ceiling height, so
No.
it was full height.
Plus, I don't remember the height of Paul's grocery store down there either. It's probably 12 feet maybe, or was it 10? The grocery store that they had?
the one there now.
No, in the old building. Remember, he had his grocery store there. Paul Hintz or something?
My bad.
Anyways, but
Well,
yeah,
that's
see,
what
that's
I'm
the
referring to.
problem.
The whole store, the Norford store, the grocery store was on the 1st floor, and storage was on the 2nd floor and the basement, and the 3rd floor was, after the Grange stopped their dances, was also storage. So, although the footprint wasn't that big, it was tall and functional.
Yeah. No, I think that's what's happened over the years. Historically, these buildings were creative, gesundheit, different, and maybe there was no height limitation in the 1800s, but then zoning came along well before any of us were involved and started really limiting.
What-
So I'm encouraged by the fact that there's no, you're allowing off the start a certain leniency to create something, but then if it's not appropriate for the area, I think you have the right to make them adjust it, right?
I guess what I'm alluding to is, I don't want something so small that, but as our tax base goes up, more retail, hit gold. And although they have a small footprint, a small building, they decide to move their mechanicals to the roof. And now we got, a nice roof line with the air conditioners on both sides of the peak.
Oh, yeah, that would be horrible. There's a good article in there that Dave has, right, about hiding the mechanicals.
Yeah.
And then we also did talk about, spires and cupolas and things, whether they should be counted as part of a height limitation. And granted, having only just met, I know I should do some more research or go back through things to see if there's anything that might be more appropriate. I'm glad to do that as a volunteer, so.
Okay, sorry, I digress. So, the height of the half-story measured vertically from the surface of the finished floor to the highest peak of the ceiling, you would rather word that differently?
Well, I'm not sure if, I would think you'd want to change the half-story height from 12 feet to a max of 16 feet, so you could have like a cathedral ceiling.
At the last meeting, we discussed maybe moving the number of stories max to three stories.
Yeah,
That's what I have in my notes. And
I was
then-
just trying to sort of find out.
And the
what a-
half story would be a moot point, right, if we moved it there, and then it'd be subject to what they present. We can still put the half story, if you choose to do a half story, we can still put how many feet we want it to be. But if we move the number of stories max to 3, we can leave the half story height of the optional and then put the height that you want to put in there. Right now, it's blank, right? And you want to move it to 12? Or,
No, I'd move it from 12 to like 16,
oh yeah, all right, I see that.
because it's the highest point of the ceiling. So if you have
Yeah.
like a sloped ceiling on your gable, you got to chop it off. You couldn't go all the way to the top. You got to chop it at 12 and have a flat ceiling.
So if we were to eliminate the half story, right?
I mean, what is a half story?
Well, I'm thinking of this one right here.
Yes, yeah, I know what you
Right?
mean,
So
yeah.
the half story, the appearance, this is page 15. Right, so you lose the appeal of this picture, right?
Yeah.
It'd be 3 stories, so it'd be no half, it'll be no deviation in roof lines. So, right, if I'm understanding what the premise of the half story is, that's considered a half story, right?
I guess that's a half story, yeah.
And there was something else in the form base about where the rafters sit on the top of the framing on the third or the half story, and that was limited to 2 feet. So that does severely limit that livable space up there as a half story above 2 floors. Maybe that gets adjusted up or something, I'm not sure. You know what I'm referring to? Like, your roof comes up like this, they come down and they sit on the outside walls.
Yeah.
Well, where the outside wall comes up above the floor, there was like 2 feet allowed.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that meant. So so here's the floor, and then the roof line is here, so you only have this much coming down, right?
That's how much
wall
wall
is
space
like
you
that.
have on that upper floor before your ceiling hits it.
Like a knee wall.
Yeah, knee wall of only 2 feet. Right? Or maybe that was one that I needed to look more into because I misunderstood it. I know Dave did spend some time explaining how a couple things were calculated to me the other day, so. Like the parking calculation. Not to change subjects.
So again, with the half story, you're locking yourself into that sloped roof design
Yes,
that we talked about at the beginning.
correct. Yep. Yep.
So that's sort of more philosophical than anything else.
And what do you want Northwood to look like? It comes right back to that. No dormers or with some character to the roof lines.
I would say dormers.
with,
Yeah,
right? Because
with.
it became significant character from the old barn picture, right, to having a dormer or a bump out, some kind of bump out, gives it character and,
I think they're doing it right beside Walgreens in Branford, off the main road, off at exit 55.
Five?
Yeah, the new building that they're building, it looks like. Yeah, they're gonna be more apartments.
With the movie theater,
Yeah, where the old movie theater, this is what their roof is looking like.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But they couldn't, Branford still can't sell all the apartments from what they built previous.
With Highway View, yeah.
Well, they want $3,000 for one bedroom, so
I don't know.
I don't know where the people getting it from. But yeah, I think that's what it's gonna look like. That's what it looks like when I get off the
Okay.
highway. Margaret?
No, that's the old one, the one that's there.
We also talked about basements are not counted as one story unless the finished floor of the ground story is 5 feet or more above the average ground level of the lot.
That's
So if the
D,
basement's sticking out of the ground,
page 9.
average ground 5 feet, so if you have a slope, the building's going into the slope, and then it comes out of the slope, so half the basement's in the slope and the other half is outside with a 5-foot-high wall being exposed. Does that make sense? And we're saying 5 feet's only like this much, you can't even live in it. Because I guess 5 feet of it would be buried in the ground.
Yeah.
The other 5 feet, but how do you get out of it at that point if there's 5 feet in the ground?
It wouldn't be habitable, wouldn't be a walkout basement, maybe common. And it really does apply, if I may, it does apply well when you have a slope. You know, sometimes we have slopes going up, that's a whole different story, but sometimes there's land that slopes down. We talked about the post office and, in Northford anyways, and the Suburban Oil or whatever building that is next to it. They have that slope and they have room in front, maybe. And why couldn't you have a little walkout or parking underneath? And then have your, whatever, 2.5, 3 stories on the street facade.
That's certainly ideal, where Angelo's Brick Pizza is,
Right.
Right.
definitely without a doubt.
And 1599,
It's ideal, outside the sewer.
so if we talked about increasing that to like 10 feet or 12 feet, that 5 feet was kind of silly.
So is the point of this not to count it as a story based on the language?
Yeah,
But you could have it, quote
Right.
unquote. So
and then you could build on top of that. That would be ground zero,
Right,
which when you're hitting into a wall makes sense, right?
yeah.
Again, as the street frontage, the public front, you're keeping that 2.5, 3 stories. On the backside, you're hiding your cars, you're doing whatever.
Right. Didn't negate living space, though. Didn't negate it based on what
Correct.
it's saying. It's just, you're just not gonna count it as a story,
Correct.
right? So it could be habitable, but not counted as a story, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Not at
Basically.
5 feet.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Not even at 10 feet,
Building
but-
codes, there's no egress, the ceiling height's not high enough. I think ceiling height's 7.5 feet for a habitable space.
Right. So it's like a crawl space at 5 feet.
Yeah.
Utilities?
Utility.
Yeah, utilities and all.
So you wanted to change that?
We were suggesting that 10 feet would make more sense than 5 feet.
Okay, and still not counted as a story?
Correct.
Okay. All right, what else you got, Dave?
We talked about the parking,
Page?
page 24.
Okay.
And we thought generally that they were good numbers,
Okay.
and we'd like the shared parking.
Yeah, that's the part that Dave had to explain the math, and like in some form codes, they actually have an example of how to do the calculation when they use that triangle of all the mixed uses. Have you seen it in the, like Hamden has it in their form-based code? But there's a math example there, which would be really beneficial to add to this.
Okay.
And when you compare these parking rates to the ITE or some of the other Transect parking, they're right within those ranges rather than the old school zoning regs.
Right, because ours is what is ours right now? 2 parking spaces, right?
2 per multifamily, 2 per condominium, 6.6 for retail. If they're still the same when I did the report, I had tabulated that.
Okay.
I think we had one other section about the windows on page 15.
Dave, may I just stay on parking one more?
Yeah.
Thing, there was what we thought was missing and maybe should be addressed is the parking stall size. Most now are, they were old school or 9 by 18, but a lot of them now are 8.5 by 18. And sometimes you go look at some of these places that have been in existence and they've been restriped, they may even be smaller, less wide. But to consider that, and maybe also consider a shortness of depth if the vehicles could overhang the curb stop or the landscape strip. But still, that way you still have your 24-foot width of driveway aisle. And again, it's up to the developer, as Dave explained. He
Leave it
said,
at the 9 foot, at least, for the car, it's smaller. Everybody drives SUVs now.
And trucks, yeah.
Trucks. Cut it smaller would be a no-no.
But
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to back a pickup truck into past the bump or and over and not impede the sidewalk, right, and still maintain the width. You know what I mean?
not a sidewalk, you're right. I was thinking
Oh,
more of a retention basin, a swale, or something else that's in the back of your lot. And I don't disagree that the trucks and SUVs are large, but most, the Urban Land Institute did a geometric study on all the vehicles. And at the time I did this report, that Ford F-150 was the largest vehicle, most popular vehicle, and I don't think it was, I'll verify this, I didn't look that up, it's definitely not that too wide as you would think it is. Most of them are just high. And then, of course, now there's the big mirrors, which is an also issue.
You know what the school is? You know what they did, what the parking is in the school, the width, off the top of your head?
The high
Where?
school?
Yeah, the high school.
Yeah, there's a big parking lot.
It's a big parking lot, but the spaces are tight.
I think they're like 9 by 16. I think that's what we have now.
The school? I haven't measured.
No, I haven't measured, but I believe that's what we have.
They are the 9.
I just noticed that in the key bank I go to, it's not here in town, in the North Haven one, they've gotten a lot narrower than they were approved for, but they still work. People are careful. But again, it's the developer's choice to say, I want more spaces, maybe we could shrink them down to 8.9, 8.6, if it's allowed. Otherwise, you know, you have more impervious surface.
Right. So the more
Heat island.
parking, the more units. Right, so it would be advantageous for him to make it narrow to gain a couple more spaces so he can add a couple more units to the complex. Because we predicated, on page 24 is 1.25 minimum spaces per dwelling unit. So he's predicating his parking lot based on how many, the other way around. Parking spaces dictate units.
Right.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Space is bigger.
Right.
So you'd have to have, I'm just thinking, if you took 6 inches off a 9-foot wide for 8.6, you'd have to have 18 stalls to get one more. And that's, I mean, yeah, it does add up without a doubt, but it's not like you gain twice as many stalls.
Correct.
So I think we should just leave it bigger because it's more comfortable for people parking.
And that's 100% true in like a mall or something where there's always strangers coming and going, and maybe even with the mixed use. But with residential, the tenants or the condo owners, they get used to what, well, the condo owners probably have their own garages, but surface parking, the tenants get used to the size that they park in.
Right, yep.
And again, that becomes the property manager's headache. People are complaining or there's issues. You'll have higher turnover of tenants. But it was just something to consider.
Okay.
If it's not considerable, it's not considerable. I'm sorry, Dave. Thank you.
That's
Go
all right.
ahead.
So we also discussed the, page 15, dormers. So you have these little dormers. And they have to be, the single dormer width is the window width plus 18 inches. So it doesn't tell you what the window width is, but if it's 3 feet, then you're gonna need another 9 feet on either side for your corner board, your window board, and maybe 4 inches of siding or some sort of material. And if it's 3 feet wide, 36 inches, plus 18, 36, 52, 54,
Yep, 54.
then the next dormer can only be half that distance. So that would be 24 inches. So you end up with this sort of picture on the frontage side with all these dormers being equally spaced, which, you know, I suppose you could put a cross gable in the middle and still put a regular dormer on either side of it. It's not like you have to choose one or the other. And then if you look at that dormer
You're-
picture on the back side, they have like shed dormers. I'm not,
Yeah, like E dormer.
it doesn't really say how you can get the shed dormer on the back side. But I guess it doesn't talk about the shape of the dormer at all. So those 2 dormers on the back side aren't using up 50%, they're 50%. And they've got the half distance in between them. So you could do that as well. You just can't do a whole shed dormer
Off the back.
all the way across the back because that's not a sloped roof.
Right.
But maybe you could put a mansard roof on the backside and it might look nice.
True. And I wanted, as a devil advocate, I said, well, if the dormers are only 50% of the eave width, which I think in my report I had suggested 60, on the backside, which is not in the public view, perhaps you can allow more, especially, I was thinking at the right in the Northford Center where they have all that vacant lot, and behind it is the Totucket Ridge. I mean, maybe whoever owns that would want to have some kind of large dormer all the way across the back. I'm just thinking, again, public realm versus the backside.
Two separate ones, two different apartments,
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically. So-
depending on the length of the structure.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you keep, I don't know, I mean, the more suggestions, the more regulations and things you have to check and enforce. But I think by giving the opportunity versus the front versus the rear, I think the quality will be better.
More adaptations for a buyer or renter. With that
well, and
type
for
of
quality,
option,
yeah.
the quality of it, right?
Yeah.
And then Steve had an interesting comment on the next page on the balconies.
Here's the true graphic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
That was on the design firm's website,
Yeah.
and it's a good solution. I'm sorry, I cut you off, you didn't explain the issue.
So you have these minimum width and minimum depth for balconies.
Yeah.
And how do you support them on the ground if they're like 6 feet? You're not just, you gotta put a support underneath them.
And if those are in the front public realm, you know, here's your balcony sitting out 4 feet, suppose they want to go 8 feet. You're gonna have to post it, you can't cantilever it. So that kind of should be addressed. And Dave was suggesting, and there's the graphic too, that I happen to come across about just building out the, not the facade, what's it called? Where you
Okay.
walk under it.
Yep.
I've forgotten the term.
Canopy.
Yeah, like a
Look
large
at-
canopy or a.
Over the walkway.
Yeah,
So blend it, work it right into the public realm, and it's, oh, look at this, it's so nice, and it's actually,
yeah, and then it's shaded for the sidewalk or partial of the sidewalk.
right. Yeah, the minimum
So-
depth is 4 feet. But after that, can 4 feet be self-sustaining, supporting itself? I don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on how you-
Somewhat, if
how
it's
you anchor it.
well done ahead of time.
Right. So beyond that, they have to design and engineer it to support it, right? Was
The
there
other
any-
issue though, with the larger the balcony on the street side, the more chance that, you know, there's gonna be a grill on it, there's gonna be
Pots, plants.
yeah, plants and clotheslines, and it's gonna become a third space or whatever you wanna call it. And I don't know if you want that on the public realm or not,
No.
right? Yeah.
Well, we can probably do that with the setting, how long the balcony can be, because you can't have a grill within, I think, 15 feet. So there you go, your balcony can't be more than 12 feet, and you can't have a grill on there, so.
Yeah, then they'll put the grill out there.
Well, then that's Dave, we'll have to get Dave out there.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, you get a really long balcony, if it's only 3 feet, you can still stick a grill on the corner.
Right, yeah.
Which maybe on the back, it's okay. Assuming there will be a back on almost all of this, because the buildings are gonna be parallel to the roads here in Northford. So some places you won't see the back unless you're going around it to use the retail behind it or park, I think.
Right, so.
You will see it coming up the side.
Yeah,
obviously.
1599, right here, you'll see it. Whatever building's built on 80 or 139, yeah, 139, you'll see it. Because the public realm could be on the either side.
Oh, yeah, it's a corner almost, yeah.
Right, versus if it was at the back, rear of the property of 1599, okay, have at it in the back. But in the front, I don't know if that's something that's, it's suggestion at this point in time.
It is in here pretty much that if you're in the back building, it's a whole different
Okay.
thing.
But that's not in this particular issue for the balconies, it's not defined, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What else, Dave?
I think that's sort of it. I mean, I'll write this stuff up so that we have sort of a document of what we discussed,
Sure.
rather than actually making changes.
Okay. This is very cumbersome, voluminous, to say the least. It's not going to be addressed in any, we don't have enough time to go through the whole document. It's almost like we should take off chunks at a time and digest it, even a special meeting,
Yeah,
just specifically to talk about this, and a roundtable discussion. You know? It's not really not about us, but selling it to the public and what we're trying to do, because no one likes change. So we're making the opportunity, like I discussed, to put it out there for people to look at. They may not grasp it at any point in time until we have a public hearing, and then blankety blank blank happens, and we'll
Yeah.
move from there.
Okay.
So,
And I think the way that you're addressing it, at least in the Northford Center, you're only doing the B zone, or the 2 zones where ACES is, so you're gonna get a way to look at it, instead of, you know, a walkable center, a village is really a 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile radius around the center. So it should be on, and a good center is really developed on both sides, right, of the road. So at least in Northford, we'll see what'll happen with the first 1 or 2.
and just getting people to buy into that, Steve, because people don't want to change it just the way, they like just the way it is.
Yeah.
With all the accidents, with the way the traffic is, and so on and so forth.
I know.
So
Yeah, that's the
it's a
one
matter of
thing.
trying to present the vision and the picture of what it could be over time. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You know, I'm looking at this, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm noticing on the far right, there's one building out of place with a hip roof.
Oh, was there?
And I think it's fantastic because, right here,
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's diverse, different villages.
I bought the old Johnson house where the bank is now,
Okay.
and I moved it down Tommy's Path. And the building has a hip roof, and it was built for the Johnson brothers' mother back 1920-ish.
Was it timber frame at that point, or stick frame?
It's stick frame,
It was,
yeah, rough cut. Try remodeling anything. But what I'm saying is, although I hear what Bob was saying, that, people have to, don't have to, but they don't like change. But it's the change that it used to be. Because, the houses were closer to the road. On the other side of the, I guess where the Rite Aid is now, there used to be a salt box where somebody totally disassembled it, and I don't know where they moved it to.
That was the Warren Williams house. He was infamous as, I think he was a Yale professor or reverend.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a beautiful house.
Yes.
It wasn't there when I moved in. It was just the tree remaining in the front yard. But,
I was there when they were disassembling it.
oh, wow.
Well, I was there when the Pilgrims roamed the earth, too.
When the earth was young, I remember you saying that. So Dave, thank you, Steve.
Thank you for asking for my opinion. It's just a layman's opinion, so I do appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming today, spending some time with us. It's getting kind of late, so I just want to wrap it up. And next item on the agenda was 2026 meeting schedule?
Yes.
Okay. That's somewhere? It's good?
Oh. Well, it's the first and third.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
First and third Thursday of the month, except for July 9th, August 20th, and December 10th.
No, we need December next year. Oh, just one?
Just one
Oh,
in
okay.
December and one in July and August.
Yep, okay. And no holidays at any of these, correct?
I will see.
Okay. That's a first and third Thursday. November 19th, that's another Thursday. Nope, that's it. 5th. You guys want to check this out?
Yeah.
Just pass it to you. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, so.
I can make it all these days.
So how about
God willing.
Have one in the middle of the month every month.
So let's just do one every quarter. See if we all can be there. for that one. No, that's good.
So I entertain a motion to adopt the 2026 meeting schedule.
I'll second.
Okay. Any
Who made the
discussion?
motion? Ron?
Ron did, second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 for the adoption of the 2026 meeting schedule. Okay. What else we got, Dave? Your time. Planners report, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, no applications for next month?
Not that I'm aware of.
So at this point in time,
I
that's.
did have one conversation today and recently with a couple other people. In the business zone, we allow residential structures on the upper floors, but not on the first floor. Commercial space, it's a business zone. First floor typically is reserved for
We'd like to be,
businesses.
yeah, commercial.
So they'd like to change that.
Forget it. Just throw them out.
Okay.
That was rejected last.
I said, well, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific and, if you can limit it to the design districts or limit it to certain size lots or whatever you come up with, but you should probably go talk to a land use attorney or a consultant and come up with some better idea than just allowing it everywhere.
You're too nice. Just tell them no. Too nice.
I mean, it's, with the internet and everything else, it's harder to find tenants for commercial spaces.
this is true. So the discussion is really, commercial space versus residential. I'm not a tax guy, but what's the difference between a residential area? Because it's always taxes based on the property, piece of property, and then what's on it. Right? So there's a commercial property, then there's a building on the commercial property, it's taxed the same.
Yeah.
But we just don't want people living in an industrial zone.
Well, and
That's
it's,
kind of the idea.
right, well, one of these would be another building in the Northford Triangle, where they just finished building that building with the 2 commercial spaces and the 6 units up above.
Yeah,
And they would like to build another building on that lot that would have 4 residential units, 2 on the first floor and 2 on the second floor. There's already a bunch of commercial office space going on in that complex.
Wouldn't that fall under like a apartment building, which we don't, you can't do?
What?
Wouldn't that, 2 and 2 fall under like an apartment building? Like they're asking you to put 2 and then.
They're asking for 4 units,
They're
right?
asking for 4 units, isn't that like an apartment building they want to put, a mini apartment building? Be the same thing, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, you're allowed to have up to 6 units on the second and third floor with commercial on the first. So that's an apartment building with commercial on the first.
Are they gonna put commercial on the second floor then?
No, they would just have 4 residential units, 2 on the first floor, 2
Or
on the
just gonna
second.
be strictly residential? In
Correct.
a commercial zone? In a commercial zone, or
In the triangle there where
Oh,
Naples and
it's a
Young
business
is,
zone.
and they just
in a
built
business zone?
business zone, not industrial. I thought you said industrial. My bad.
business zone.
Business zone.
No. Kick them out.
So I mean, that's a little bit unique there because it's not like a strip mall, it's not like a downtown, it's sort of a conglomerate type area. Even in the form-based code, we're allowing residential on the first floor as long as it's in the back of the building. It can't be on the front,
Correct.
but it could be on the back on the first floor.
Right.
And then you go back to your old mom and pop candy stores where they had the candy store in the front and mom and dad lived in the back and you ran the store. But traditionally, we don't have residential in a business zone in the front.
So the form base is allowing us to do what you just described with the candy store in the front and residential in the back.
Yeah,
So if you were to put, in like the center of town, if you were to put a building up front and then have parking in a building after that building, you could have residential in the back, or the residential has to be in that back building.
no, it could be in the back of the
Front
building
building?
that frontages on a major road, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that piece of property, there'd be no, the frontage wouldn't be on the main road, it'd just be to the parking lot, right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
It would look at the
Face-
parking lot on Middletown Avenue at the
Yeah.
pickleball courts,
Okay. Oh, they own that piece of, that stretch over there,
yeah,
between the ambulance and the dumpster.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So just food for thought, I was like, you go figure it out.
Interesting.
No one's coming up with any like elderly housing type stuff? Like little single, little houses, retirement community?
No,
Um,
Aces. Aces, it's for sale.
What's that?
The Aces.
The school.
Yeah.
Wardsburg.
How many schools have we seen converted into senior housing? But it's B3,
right.
that would be ideal. So Aces is just up the hill on,
That property is big enough to hold a lot.
It's a school,
Playground and all.
playground and all, yeah. Converted into senior living with a kitchen and facilities are all right there. But again, it's not zoned for that. So food for thought, something to think about. With that being said, anything else, Dave? You're good? Gentlemen, anything for the good of the order? If not, I'll turn over the item to Mr. Ron. Item 9.
Don't forget Thanksgiving is coming, buy your flowers, or pay for the rest of it, the rest of the year. A happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I motion we adjourn.
All right, second. All right, all in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned, 8:35. Thank you all.